Good morning again, Bevel. This is Cindy from PAC-B TV, and we are here this morning with Jay Cianablo.
Yeah.
He's the owner of Carefree Lawn Care, and Jay is going to give us some tips on getting your lawn ready for spring and summer, the do's, the don'ts, whatever. He's the expert. How long you been doing this, Jay?
27 years.
Oh, 27. Well, then you should know about lawns and
Yes,
lawn care. Okay.
I know a few things.
I imagine you do. Why don't you start at the beginning, like today, as far as the lawns and if you see snow on your lawn, that type of thing. You walk us through it.
Yeah, so this time of year, usually, and we're lucky in Syracuse because, we could see the lawns at the beginning of April. There's some years where you don't until mid-April, but this time of year, you're looking at the lawn. It's looking pale, matted down. You might see some brown spots on your lawn, some white spots, some with a pinkish color. You might have something called snow mold. You might have twigs, leaves, and all kinds of stuff on there you want to clean up. We would definitely recommend not heavily raking your lawn really rough, because those patches that you see, what we do recommend is you lightly rake them, fluff them up, let the air flow, and they will come back. Snow mold, very rarely does snow mold do a lot excessive damage to your lawn. So those matted areas you want to lightly rake, you want to fluff them up, clear off any sticks or twigs. Most people don't own a backpack blower or a blower. That's usually the best method for cleaning your lawn, and when you blow it on the lawn, it'll fluff the grass up and let the air flow. So yeah, that's about it. Go easy on the lawn at this time of year. Really, any heavier raking, you're going to want to wait till it's actively growing. So it's a little more sturdier when you put the rake to it.
Now, what do you do if you rake it too hard? Will that destroy the new growth? I mean, the emerging grass or whatever?
In a few weeks, you'll see new shoots. If you look down in the lawn, you'll see new shoots coming up, and they're tender and new, and you want to be gentle with it. And if you do rake too hard, you'll produce a bare spot. There's also, especially here in Baldwinsville, and we. The Radisson, especially on a golf course, you see a lot of bent grass in the lawn. And bent grass is another thing at this time of year. It might be a little brown. It pulls up very easily. You can pull it up with your hand. It's not dead. It's a grass variety. A lot of people don't like it, because only the top third of it is green. So a lot of homeowners who mow once a week will mow the green off of it in the summer, and it looks brown and stalky. So with bent grass, again, don't rake it too hard. It's actually going to thrive and come right back once the weather warms up and the soil temperatures get up there. So that's my best advice for the spring. I wouldn't go too crazy, raking too hard. And then a lot of people either have plow damage or bare spots in their lawn, and the springtime's a great time to throw some seed down. And then, I can talk to you about that kind of thing, getting your lawn prepared and ready to seed for the spring.
Now, what is it usually? I know with my lawn, at this time of the year, they suggest putting some application for crabgrass.
Yes.
This is the time of this is the time of the year for that.
This is the time of the year for crabgrass control, and whether you want to, whether you want to go organic, whether you want to go the traditional route and go to the store. A lot of people have to remember, if you're going to the store, your big box stores, and you're buying that bag of product, and I won't mention the names, there's all different kinds of brands, and you're doing that step one on your lawn in the spring, it's very important that people realize you really can't seed. So in the spring, it's either you're getting crabgrass control or you're not. If you want to seed your lawn in the spring, you're really going to want to avoid crabgrass control. They do make crabgrass controls that you can seed with, but those products you would need to call a licensed professional to apply to your lawn if you want to do any seeding. So I see that a lot every year where people will put their crabgrass control fertilizer down and then sprinkle seed right on it. It's never going to work.
Well, what is it? In my recollection of reading on the bags, it says you have to wait like 4 to 6 weeks after the application of the crabgrass.
Even longer. It's designed to last 3 months.
Really?
It's designed to last. So if you put a crabgrass control down in the spring, you really want to seed early fall, late summer, and that's where we usually, if your lawn's really bothering you, we'll tell you go ahead and seed it in the spring. But that's the best time to do it. That's the best time to get the grass established. Late summer, early fall.
Okay, all right. So then, all right, so if you don't do crabgrass, if you're okay with that,
Yeah.
now is there such a thing as overseeding?
Yeah, you could overseed your lawn, and again, we see people do it. They'll buy a bag of seed and they'll overseed your lawn. The problem we see with that is if you just buy a bag of seed and you broadcast it all over your lawn, you're going to have a very, very, very low germination rate. So when that happens, we'll usually say to people, okay, you want to overseed your lawn? We would recommend doing either an aeration or a dethatching before you do it, something to rough it up a little bit, or create seed to soil contact where you know the seed's going to germinate. Just simply throwing it on top of your grass.
It's a waste of money?
It's a very big waste of money. Even if you have bare spots that you want to seed, don't just throw it on top. You have to rake it in about 1/4 of an inch and get the seed and the soil to mix really well. You don't need straw most of the time. It will germinate. You know, a lot of people think you got to cover it with straw and everything, and that's not always the case. So.
Huh. Well, now what is the thatching? You know, the thatcher and then the aerating. What is that?
Well, an aeration pokes holes in the lawn and pulls the soil core out about the size of your thumb.
Okay.
And it does that hundreds of times, and it's making holes in the lawn. So when you overseed, that seed goes boom right down to the holes. We know it's going to germinate. Dethatching is a machine that has some blades on the bottom like this, and they get down and they get up the rough stuff, the old grass clippings and leaves, and it really fluffs your grass up and pulls that up. And that's also a good time, because any areas where you have thinner bare spots, it's going to chop it up a little, and you could throw some seed down on it. But just throwing it on the lawn without doing anything like that is really a waste of money.
Now, can you buy equipment to do that yourself?
You could. It's expensive to buy, but you can rent it. You know, and there's rental places all around the greater Syracuse area where you can rent them, and they're reasonable, anywhere from $70 to $100 for the whole day. We'll see a lot of neighbors will go in together and they'll rent an aerator together and knock out a bunch of them. So yeah, these are all things you could do yourself, not too complicated, and get you the best looking lawn going into the summer.
Okay, so then we're now at, say we're seeded.
Yeah.
We've done a little thatching or aeration or whatever, and now we've done some seeding. Now what do we look for? The grass starts coming up.
The grass starts coming up, and at that point, either before it starts coming up or while it's coming up, and if you do any seeding, they again, at the stores you could get starter fertilizer, and that's going to be not as harsh as like a crabgrass control, the amount of nitrogen that goes in the lawn, and in New York, you're not allowed to apply phosphorus to a lawn unless you're establishing or seeding a lawn. So that would be a case where you can put some phosphorus on the lawn. It's really good for new seed. And a blend of starter fert, what you're looking for is the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So you'd look, it would be something like 18, 20, 10 or something like that, any blend like that, or you'll just see 19, 19, 19, the numbers on the bag, your nitrogen, your phosphorus, and your potassium. And so if you're doing seeding in the spring, that's the kind of product you would want to use. If you're not doing any seeding in the spring, by all means, you could either just give it an organic fertilizer to get your color up and get it to really fill in nicely, or you could do fertilizer with a control product like crabgrass control or a weed and feed or something like that.
Now, does that work? The weed, like a weed and feed type thing?
Granular weed and feeds will work. You have to follow the instructions on the bag, which most of the time it wants you to do it when there's dew on the lawn or the lawn's a little wet, because those little granules have to stick to the weed, and also get into the soil, because it'll work systemically as well as contact. So.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So now we've gotten our lawn all thatched and aerated, and we've fed it and whatever we do. Now, what height do you recommend for mowing?
For mowing?
And how often,
Well, most homeowners are once a week, or even myself. So in the spring, you have to keep in mind, if you're fertilizing your lawn, it's going to grow faster. That's a byproduct of it. It's going to look nicer, it's going to have better color, but yes, it's going to grow faster. So you're going to want to mow more often. You really shouldn't be. It's hard. You shouldn't really remove more than a quarter or a third of the blade every time you mow it. So most people are letting it grow to 6 inches and cutting it down to 3. Excessive grass clippings in the spring will kill the grass underneath. So you either want to lightly rake those and spread them out, or blow them with any kind of blower that you have. But 3 inches is really what we tell people. 3.5 is even better. You want to shade the soil. All your color is at the top of the blade. So you want the longer your grass is, the greener it's going to look.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
And so maintaining it like that, and again, it's a little easier for people that are retired. Your average, people that work a full week, they're just coming and doing it. They mow on the weekends, or they hire a service, and that service comes once a week. But if you are fertilizing your lawn, sometimes it's going to require you to mow it every 5 days, or if you can't get to it, sometimes bagging the clippings in those cases is better for your lawn than leaving lots of clumps. But it is always best to leave, if you get a nice even mow, to leave the clippings on the lawn. That's nutrients, and it's good for your lawn.
Now, if somebody wants to know, say you're looking at your lawn and you go, well, how come this color's here and that color's there and this looks good and that doesn't look good? Would you recommend somebody testing the soil?
We recommend a soil tester having. That's fine. We don't usually find a lot of problems here in upstate New York when we do soil tests. You do sometimes. A lot of times if you're looking at the lawn, and again, going back to the Radisson, you're going to have patches where they have bluegrass, or the homeowner went to Home Depot one year and seeded this section with a different grass. The different grass varieties have different colors. Like I was talking earlier about bent grass, that's really stands out on a lawn. And in the spring here, you'll see the grass will go to seed, and it'll push a little seed head that looks like the wheat. Natural process. It's your grass reproducing. But that'll look a little bit different than your other grass. So most of the time, if you're looking at the lawn and you're seeing these different patches or colors, it's just simply because you have different grass varieties, and that's where aerating and seeding your lawn, either the spring or we do recommend the early fall, late summer, but that's where you could get a chance to overseed your entire lawn with one grass variety and kind of make it look a little more even. And in certain cases too, I don't want to give people that information like that doing that once is going to fix your lawn, because in certain cases when you have bent grass, eventually that's going to win the battle. It's going to, bent grass wins all the time. Unless you kill it and get it completely out and know you killed the root and everything and reseed, it could creep right in. It's creeping bent grass is what it's called. And it spreads from the stolons underneath the soil. It doesn't go to seed like, bluegrass and ryegrass produce a seed head and grass seeds. It spreads underneath. So you got to really be careful, that you get all of it. And so.
Well, how do you differentiate when you're trying to get rid of it? How do you get rid of it?
There's great resources here. Cornell Cooperative Extension is one of them. And of course, you could call if you know somebody in the business or your local expert, have them take a look and identify stuff like that. But there's a lot of resources, I think, for people where they could call and ask questions and have people help them out. But if you're seeing weird patches and most likely that's what's causing it.
Okay. Now, if I had like a situation, I have a situation in my yard where my neighbor has a black walnut tree, and only certain types of plants, shrubs, bushes, grasses grow well underneath that tree.
Okay.
So I have to use a different type of grass seed if I want to put it on my backyard as opposed to the front yard, because there's no black walnut tree there. Okay. And I did find out from the Cornell Cooperative Extension. Yeah. Jay's right. That's any kind of information I'm sure you can Google the address. They will help you out and send you all sorts. It is a great resource. It is.
Great resource.
They sent me a list of all the plants, shrubs, grass that will not survive well near a black walnut, and the ones that will.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly, because I kept having these problems. Yeah. And the type of grass seed, because I used to use the same grass seed across the entire lawn.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out why that wasn't working well. Well, that's why, because of this. So if you have a black walnut tree, that could be part of your problem if you're having issues with certain types of grass seed, certain types of plants. We got off topic here. But is there any type of grass seed in this area that works better? Would, you know, I mean, as far as, you know, you go to the stores, you see the contractors blend, you see bluegrass, you see rye. Is there any type that's better, or?
Bluegrass does well in upstate New York. It requires more watering and more care, you know. It's really the nice Kentucky bluegrass is the standard, you know, it's the nicest looking grass. We tend to tell people to go more with like a tall fescue because it's hardier, it's a thicker blade, and that's where people don't, you know, enjoy it. It's a little thicker blade, it's a little coarser on your bare foot, but it stands up really well to insects. It stands up to drought stress. It's if you have a high traffic area, it's really good too. So when you go to the store, there's a lot of choices, but mostly this area you don't want one variety. You want to do a mix. So you'll buy a mix with some tall fescue, some bluegrass, and then also fescue. You know, fescues just generally do well in this cooler climate. You know, I know we get the droughts in the summer, so chewing red's a good blend, but all that stuff is usually blended in a bag, you know, unless you have a sod lawn. Now there's people that have sod lawns and it's just straight bluegrass, and that you want to be careful that you don't put a tall fescue in because it'll stand out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
No, I mean grass variety here, you know, again, you want to avoid. They don't sell bent grass, you know, that could be spread from a bird drop. We don't, you know, it could spread from mower blades. So, but you want to avoid that. If it really depends what you like. We have people that have zoysia grass, which, you know, temperatures have to be like 80 degrees and it turns green. So right now you'll see this nice brown thick carpet on people's lawns. We know it turns green, but people love it because it's easy to maintain. It blocks out weeds. It's like a carpet, but it's brown for a lot of the year here in upstate New York. But there's still people that like it, you know. But usually your fescue, bluegrass, ryegrass blend, it's perfect.
Good. I'll have to remember that. Now, another problem with people with their lawns, the grubs.
Yeah.
Now, what do you recommend to get rid? No, first of all, how do you know if you have them?
You don't. So grubs, you know you have them when it's too late. There's already damage to the lawn, and that's typically end of August through the fall, and even into October, even into November. It just depends on soil temperatures and climate. But grubs, you'll see a brown patch on your lawn, it'll roll right up like carpet. You just kick it right up in there, you'll be able to easily see them. So most of the products you get in the stores or other companies will apply is a preventative product. It's a product that you put down and you know now you're not going to have grubs. You got to watch, and I've seen properties that have very little Japanese beetle activity and they'll get a ton of grubs. I've seen properties that had some beetles fly, a bunch of beetles, and they didn't have a grub issue. So it's very hard to determine, but most of the time when we do see the beetles, you know, Japanese beetles around 4th of July, you're going to see them. When you see them flying around, they're going to lay eggs in your lawn. There's your grubs. So if you see a lot of heavy beetle activity, there's a very high probability that you're going to have grubs. Now, there's a lot of people that just have lawns and never put a grub control down because your lawn could support a population of grubs. It's got to be under about 12 per square foot. So 10 or 12 per square foot or less, you wouldn't notice, you know, it's very hard, you won't notice the problem with your lawn. And that's why a lot of people will say, hey, I've never done a grub control, I never had a problem with them. Most likely they're there, just you don't have a big population of them. It's when you get a really big concentrated amount in one spot that your lawn's going to get, you know, killed off.
So that's what, like you say, when you flap some of the grass back, if you see many of them, then obviously you have a problem.
You have a problem if you could just kick your grass back. But at that point, once you're on your lawn and you kick your grass over, it's over. You got grubs, and then you want a curative product, which any professional companies, you could buy it in the store, and you'd want to get on that right away. You minimize the damage, and then you're going to want to repair and seed it. And that's pretty much all you could do to deal with grubs. You know?
Well, I know I fight every year with my lawn, you know, because I like a nice looking lawn, and I try to take care of it. but there are issues. There are definitely issues.
There's a lot. You know, a lot of people new to lawn care, you know, I would say, in my opinion, I think one of the worst things is chinch bugs, which we have here in upstate New York. And that destroys a lot of lawns every summer.
Now, what are they?
A chinch bug it's a little black bug with a little white spot on the back. If you Google it, you'll see them. They're very easy to identify. But chinch bugs do a lot of damage to lawns here in upstate New York. So if you're buying, most of the time when you're buying that product in the store for grubs, a lot of times they'll make a combination product that'll take care of chinch bugs because that's a surface insect, and then your grub is a subsurface insect. So you could get a product that will take care of everything ruining your lawn on top and everything that's going to ruin your lawn on the bottom. And the ingredients in a lot of them don't harm earthworms as well, which is good for the soil. You know, you want to have earthworms, so they don't. You're trying not to harm the good pests, and you're only trying to target those.
Right.
So, but chinch bugs, you'll have them more often in a thatchier lawn. So if your lawn's really thick and thatchy, you have a better chance of getting chinch bugs. And a lot of the things that people say to me over the summer, I could be talking to somebody about their lawn, and they might, you know, I show up there, I got chinch bugs and grubs. How come my neighbor next door, and you look across, there's nothing at the neighbor, and the neighbor's lawn has some grass, but it's very weedy, because these insects really want the nicest looking lawn. So now if you're taking care of your lawn, they're going to go, oh, look at that. That buffet looks a lot better. So, you know, in that instance, you know, if you have a really nice, thick, plush lawn, and it's a little, you know, we would recommend doing something for insects in the summer. There's not a ton of organic options that work great that we've found, but there are some organic options and traditional options as well for bugs, especially for grubs. One of the things people use is called milky spore. So there's options on every side for the lawn, but chinch bugs, those suckers, I feel like they're worse than grubs. And
I'll have to. Now I've got something else to worry about.
When we tell a person you got chinch bugs, their look on their face, what the heck's a chinch bug?
I know.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, we found bluegrass billbug here, chinch bug, sod webworm. Those are a few of the big. Those are probably the top three that are going to damage your lawn. You know?
Oh, good.
And then we've had, you know, gypsy moth larvae too. Enough of those. So there's a lot of challenges. Yeah, it's not always that easy.
Thank God my lawn is small. I know. So, anyways, let's just kind of do like a recap.
Yeah.
So you're getting ready to do your lawn.
Yeah.
We'll just take it step by step, real quick, as far as from beginning until say the middle of the summer. What do you do?
So the first
what do you look for?
First thing you're doing right now is you're obviously clearing sticks and twigs and stuff that is going to get in your way. We're getting ready to start mowing here in a couple of weeks or so. Lightly rake the lawn. You're looking for those patches of snow mold. And again, those you're going to just lightly fluff up, let the air flow through them. And that's about it. If you live in an area where the snow plow and you got a bunch of rocks on the edge, you know, you could brush those off. They make attachments and, you know, or you hire a landscaper, they do a full cleanup for you. But you're really going to want to avoid, if you do know that you have bent grass in your lawn, you're going to want to avoid heavy raking that because you'll just rip it right out. The snow mold as well, it's just fluff it up. Don't do any heavy raking. And assess your lawn. You know, do you have some spots? Was there plow damage? Do you need to seed? The areas that you seed, of course, you're not going to put any pre-emergent crabgrass controls down. You would do more of a starter fertilizer. And then you would just let your lawn go and you'd wait and, you know, till it's time to mow. Once you start mowing, some people get caught off guard on that first mowing and they're, you know, hacking it up. Try to avoid leaving heavy clippings on your lawn. It'll kill the grass underneath. Try and disperse them and mow as often as you can in the spring. Usually when we get to the summer, the lawn slows right down, you know, and you could go back to once a week or every 10 days.
You shouldn't do it real low. I know it looks better, but
Always 3 inches and above.
Okay.
And I see people that don't like to do that and they're fine, you know, but as long as you know the expectations is the lower you cut it, it's not going to look as nice as when you cut it higher. So that between that 3 and 4 inch range is really optimal, and it's really going to be looking its best. So, but right now, really easy. You know, you get your cleanup done, get your lawn ready. Lightly rake out any rocks on the curb. You assess you got a spot or two, you seed it. Those spots you avoid with any pre-emergence, but by all means, you could give your lawn a spring fertilizing. Like I said, they made starter fertilizers just for that purpose, to beef your lawn up, and you get your new seed to come in, and once that comes in, keeping it between 3 and 4 inches is going to prevent a lot of stuff from creeping in there. The lower you mow it, the more you're going to give it a chance to have crabgrass and weeds fill in. So that's about all I'd say to do at this point, and
just as an aside, are any products out there animal friendly?
Yeah, all the organic products are animal friendly.
Because people I know have concerns about that, doing their lawn and then letting their dog outside or whatever.
Even synthetic fertilizer, as long as there's no pesticides in it, it's animal friendly. And it'll definitely tell you on the bag. And as long as you follow the instructions on the bag, whatever you buy, like I said, at the big box store, just follow the instructions. But the rule of thumb I tell people with pets, and I'm a pet owner myself, but if you do put a product and you really want your pet to go out there, it's probably best if you water it first, let it dry, and then most of the time when you water a product in and let it dry, it's okay for your pet to go out there. But again, every product you buy is going to have a different label on it, and reading the label, if you're buying products in stores, is the most important thing you could do. Read the label. The label is your instructions, the label is your re-entry time, how long to keep your pets off, so you always read the label. And again, always protect yourself too. You're still going to a store and you're buying chemicals, make sure you wear the proper protective equipment, the PPE, and that's important as well, proper storage and all of that thing. So, but plenty of options, organic options, plenty of them out there.
I know a lot of people are getting, they're concerned for keeping, because a lawn typically is not, it's kind of like a dead zone for plants and all of that. It's kind of, a lot of people feel that you should try to have as little a lawn as possible, concentrate more on your native plants, because if you want to really get into nature type stuff.
Yeah.
But we all like our lawns. I mean, we all like to have, like I said, mine's very small, but I like a nice lawn. And I like my plants. I like to think we can all live in harmony here.
I think we can, and I think it's up to. I'm all for the individual homeowner doing whatever they want to do, but a lot of people look at their lawns, especially me, as additional outdoor living space.
Yes.
That's where you're playing games, and people want to have a nice, aesthetic, healthy looking lawn to play on. They don't want mud and rocks. So.
No, I'm with you on that one.
It's up to the individual. But
yeah.
for me, your lawn, your turf, it's your outdoor living space. That's more room for you to go and stretch
and be
out
outside and exercise.
And I know myself, and I have great pictures of my yellow lab, enjoying laying out there, and all the kids playing in my lawn, and myself, I love that nice soft plush lawn. It's like a that's the saying.
It's like a carpet. It is.
And that's your outdoor living space. So that I just leave up to the individual homeowner.
I like a nice lawn.
Yeah. A lot of people do it, and and it adds property value. It makes
it does.
A lot of people keep their house very nice. It's a huge investment. It's really a very small investment to keep your outdoors looking good and then having the lawn looking good. But we're all for listen, if you don't want.
Whatever anybody wants to do. That's right. But I like my little lawn, and I like it to look nice.
Yeah.
And I putter. I laugh. My neighbors laugh because I tell them I go on patrol with my cup of coffee and go and check and do a little weeding here and check it here.
Well,
check it there.
I'm in the business, but I bought a crazy lawnmower. I like to make my stripes, and it's just something I enjoy.
Well, you have fun.
Yeah.
The little things.
It's
in life.
relaxing. Yes, exactly.
I love playing with all the flowers. I do.
I'm the lawn guy. My wife's the gardener. She's got all the plants and the flowers and all the big things.
So it's a nice
make the lawn look. Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. So.
It's up to each individual. There's so many options out there for the spring. There's just so many, But like I said earlier, the biggest thing, if you're going to invest in seed and you're going to rent your aerator, do not put that traditional pre-emergent crabgrass control and fertilizer down on your lawn. You're going to want either an organic or something like a starter fertilizer that's meant for that, and that will work just fine.
I'll remember that.
And not
Definitely
everybody
remember that, yeah.
needs a weed-free lawn. There's people that, if the lawn's small enough, you can pick them by hand, and it's just
Which
like
I do.
Even professionals in my industry we're trying to use our goal is always use the least amount of pesticides possible, only when needed, and that's what we stress and let our customers know. That a lot of times the right blend of nutrients and micronutrients, the lawn's going to look fantastic, and you need zero or very little pesticide or herbicide on the lawn.
Oh, that's good to know. That's good to know.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm ready for spring. I'm ready for summer. I'm ready to be
I'm ready.
outside.
Yeah. Next week's forecast looks amazing. So
I know.
70s.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
No
It'll be
rain in the
great.
70s.
It'll be wonderful.
Well, I'm not going to be sleeping much.
No, well, that's the way it goes.
Yes.
That's the way it goes. But Jay, thank you so much for coming in. I
No
appreciate
problem.
this.
Thank you for
If
inviting
anybody
me
has
to
any
this.
questions, about lawn care or whatever, you can email us at info@pacbtv.org with any of your questions, and we'll forward them on to Jay. And I would like to do this again, maybe in a couple of months. We can see where we're at for more of the midsummer heading into fall type,
Absolutely, yeah.
situation, so we can give people some, or you can give people some ideas as to where you go now at that particular time of the year.
Also, in the summertime too, I could let people look for signs of those chinch bugs or things, or signs of grubs or things that might put their lawn in danger. A lot of times, just professionally, I've in my career done a lawn where I saved the lawn. The homeowner never knew it. That I just left a little note like, hey, I treated for chinch bugs today. So, and there's warning signs. Chinch bugs in the summer are not as bad as a grub because they suck the juice out of the grass. They have little, and they suck the juice. So even if you find them present and your grass is brown, a lot of times you can take care of the chinch bugs, give it some water, and the grass could recover. So I could give some advice on that in the summer and things to look for. And then in the summer, June, July, and August, we tell everybody, but you should be mowing your lawn over 3 inches. It should be 3.5 inches, no less than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll come back and,
Yeah.
we'll talk about that too. The next step, see how everybody's done.
Yeah.
From the spring.
Absolutely.
And then we'll head in to see what care is getting ready to go into winter. Oh my God, we're not even over this,
I
and
know,
already
I
I'm
know.
talking about next winter. But anyways, Jay, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank
I
you for
appreciate
having
it.
me. Love it.
You take care and have a great day.
You
And
too.
thanks, Bevel. See you later.